Hi, Dr. Rita here. I have a question for you. During these current events and during these unprecedented times, if there was a way that you could make all of your fear disappear, does this sound like something that you might be interested in? Do you think this might be something that would help you? If so, you've come to the right place because that is what we're going to work on in this session today. So you might want to get a paper and pencil out and take notes. And as you take notes, you'll see this whole process and how we're going to handle things. And then you'll want to come back and play it over again and follow through. So let's get started. Okay, so if you could make all of your fear disappear, first of all, how do you think that would make you feel? Do you think you might be happy, calm, content? Do you think it might boost your immune system? Do you think you might feel more in control of your life? Maybe do you think you might feel like you have better coping skills as far as coping with all these events going on these days? Well, if your answer is yes to any of these questions, then let's continue. Okay, so first of all, I want to explain how the human body relates to the universe, because by understanding this, it will help you to understand this process. And by understanding this process, it makes it more powerful and more effective for you. So, first of all, I want to ask you, have you ever thought about the fact that human beings are electrical beings? I know that sounds funny, and you might be saying, how could a human being be an electrical being? But if you think about it, all human beings have 5 brain waves. So you've got your alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta brain waves. And what are brain waves? They are electricity, forms of electricity, just like microwaves, ultraviolet waves, all forms of electricity. So we measure human brain waves in hertz, just like you would measure electricity in a light bulb. So it's similar. And it's all different forms of energy. And energy creates vibrations and frequencies. And like I say, all these are measured in hertz for brainwaves. So that kind of gives you an idea of the brainwaves being a form of electricity. Also, we have electricity running through all these energy pathways throughout our body. Your brain, your heart, everything connects to all your organs with energy meridians. And so if you have a thought, your thought travels down these energy meridians to different parts of your body and sends signals telling different parts of your body what to do. So that's another form of electricity running through your body as well. So now that you understand that, let's get started. So first of all, I wanted to ask you if you would please start with the breathing exercises. So if you could take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. First you take 1 long, slow, deep breath in, and as you do, I want you to think in your mind, I am breathing in infinite love, perfect peace, and beautiful harmony. Then you hold that for the count of 3, and then after that, you breathe out a long, slow, deep breath. As you breathe out, I want you to again think, I am breathing out all fears, doubts, anxieties, and discomforts. Then you hold that out for the count of 3, and then you do that 2 more times. So that'll be a total of 3 times that you'll breathe in and out long, slow, deep breaths. Now you might be wondering, why should you do this? Well, this long, slow, deep breathing actually activates a spot in the back of your neck, or actually in the back of your throat, and it's your brainstem. And as it activates this spot in your brainstem is, of course, part of your brain. And it activates and starts making your brain waves, make you feel relaxed and calm. And that's what we want to do, because this is a form of brainwave healing, which is kind of what our goal is here, is we want to activate your brainwaves to get them to a certain state, the alpha brainwave state. And once we can get you to the alpha brainwave state, you'll be totally aware of what's going on, totally engaged. You'll be in control of the whole process. But once you get to that state, then the alpha brainwave state, then you will be in a pre-suggestive state. And what we want to do is do one more technique that will bridge you over into the suggestive state. And once we can get you in the suggestive state, again, you will be awake, aware, engaged, in control of your life. And once you're in that state, then you can tell yourself and ask the divine and ask yourself to, and then that's when we'll do the programming, to make all fears, doubts, anxieties, and discomforts disappear. And then we're also going to ask the divine to add to you or install. I use the word install because the mind or brain is kind of like a computer. And so you'll ask to add or install all the good things you would like. So if you want to be calm, content, happy, in a good mood, if you want to feel safe and secure, if you want to feel confident, if you want to feel like you are protected at all times, if you want to boost your immune system, anything that you want to add, that's the time to do it. But we're not there yet. But I'm just giving you an overall idea of how this process works. And so, like I say, you'll be in control and you'll be asking yourself all these things. You'll be asking the divine. So you'll be totally in control of this whole entire process. And so I just want to explain that to you now. Okay, so to get started with the breathing, after you've done the breathing exercises, then I want you to keep in mind you have raised your brainwave frequencies, or electricity. You've raised your frequencies 3 different steps, because you've done that 3 repetitions. And every repetition raises your brainwave state a little higher and a little higher, gets you a little closer and a little closer to the alpha brainwave state, which is our goal. So if you've done that 3 times now, then let's move on to the next step. And the next step I call the I love yous. And the reason I call it the I love yous is because the word love is the highest frequency word in the English language. So every time you say, I love this, I love that, you are actually raising your brain waves closer and closer to the alpha brainwave state. So you can go ahead and say you love as many things as you want now. So go ahead and say I love, and maybe you might want to say I love my parents, I love my significant other, I love my children, or I love my pets, or whatever you love. Go ahead and name as many as you can right now and do each one separately. I love this, I love that, like that. So at least 3, a minimum of 3. So go ahead. Go ahead and say you love at least 3 things now. And then keep in mind, each time your brain waves are being raised higher and higher and higher in frequencies, closer to the alpha brainwave state. Okay, so you got that done now? Great. Okay, so then let's move on to the next step. And the next step is that you're going to ask the divine, whatever your word for the divine is, go ahead and ask the divine to send to your mind the root causes of why you are feeling fear. So you probably already know that answer. But it might be based on the current events, might be something you saw on TV, maybe it was something you read on the internet, something you heard from a friend, who knows? It could be anything. Or maybe it goes back to your childhood, because it always is best to go back to the very first time you ever experienced fear. And so if you can think of something from your childhood where you experienced fear, start with that one. The first one is the most important, and then the others kind of build on that. And if we can take that one out, they all go out at the same time. So And anytime you ask yourself, your brain, anytime you ask yourself a question, your brain always wants to answer it. And it really gets to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind wants to answer it. So just ask yourself, when did I first experience fear? Was it in my childhood, or is it the current events, or somewhere in between? And just ask yourself. That's why I ask you to have a pencil and paper, because it might come to you a little later and you might want to jot it down. Okay, so you'll want to ask yourself when you first experienced fear, and jot that down whenever that comes to you, and it'll come sooner than you think. And then also, based on the current events, you probably are experiencing fear based on what's been going on lately with the current events as well. So you might want to jot those down as well. And so now you know what the root causes of your fear are, because you know whatever these events are that you've written down. And so then after you've got that, then I want you to really think about this next one, and I want you to put a lot of emotion into it. So I want you to just put your hands on your heart and just say, and this is the forgiveness practice. So this is where I want you to forgive 3 people. The first 3 people that come to your mind. So usually it's, it could be from your childhood, teenage years, adult years, anytime. So just ask yourself, what 3 people would have the biggest impact on my life if I could forgive them now? It's not people you want to forgive. It's people who have caused you the most hurt, or, emotional wounding or whatever. Those are the people you want to forgive, because that will give you the most effective and powerful healing. And so that's why you kind of want to ask yourself that, to prompt to your mind, and then things will come to your mind. And if you've asked the divine to help assist, guide, and direct you, and tell you in your mind exactly the best possible answers for this question and any other questions now. So ask the divine to do that now. And then ask yourself, okay, what 3 people should I forgive, and what 3 events should I forgive them for now? And so once you ask yourself that, again, you're going to maybe want to jot these 3 things down, and it might be 3 people with 3 different events. So go ahead and jot all those down on your paper now. And they might come to you. If they don't come to you right now, I'm sure something comes now, but they might come a little later. So that's why you want the paper and pencil now, because a little later things will come to you and you'll jot them down. And so then you've got your 3 people and 3 events. So go ahead now, and this does not mean you have to actually forgive the people in person. You don't have to go to a person and say, I forgive you. This is all about healing you, and this is between you and your word for the divine, between you and the divine, and it's to heal you. So, again, you do not have to talk to the person. You do not have to forgive them, or even, you don't even have to make amends with them. But you do need to, in your mind, forgive them. And this is very healing, very therapeutic, and very powerful. And I know a lot of people do not want to forgive someone who has really hurt them, whether it be childhood, adulthood, or whatever. Some people will say, how can I forgive this person for what they did to me? Well, I understand it's very difficult. But if you only knew how effective and how powerful it is when you forgive them, how powerful it is that it heals you. And this is proven, and psychiatrists will tell you this, therapists will tell you this. Spirituality is very much promoting, they realize the importance of forgiveness. And even Jesus Christ asked people to forgive others. So this is more powerful than people realize. It's very healing to you. So if you can just keep that in mind. Keep in mind you don't have to talk to the person. This is just for your own personal benefit. So go ahead and tell the divine, I forgive, and name the 3 people. I forgive this person for this event, I forgive that person for that event, and I forgive this person for this event. So now that you've got that done, then we're going to go to the next part of this forgiveness practice, which is, and I know this is hard, but you got to say it with emotion and be sincere, because the more sincere you are, the more powerful the effects are. So this is really important. So now if you could tell the divine, I love and I accept, and name each of these 3 people. I love and accept so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, just as they are now and from now on now. And I know that's hard to do, but if you can seriously and sincerely forgive them and tell your word for the divine, tell the divine you forgive them, then this is very powerful stuff. Okay, so then once you've said you love and accept them as they are, then the next step is, and this is all part of the forgiveness practice, then will you please ask the divine to bless these people, to bless and heal these people for whatever root causes they had that caused them to treat you the way they did in the first place. So if you think about it, the people who have had traumatic events in their childhood, or let's say this person may have had a traumatic event happen in their childhood that caused them to overreact. You know, they may be insecure from whatever happened in their childhood, and it may have caused them to overreact towards you, and that overreaction may have been hurtful to you, and they may have done it without even thinking about how they hurt you. They may have just done it because it was done to them, you know, and since it was done to them, it kind of might have become like a habit or something, and they may have done it without really trying to hurt you, or maybe they were intentional, who knows. But regardless of the case, if you can be understanding enough to just ask the divine to please heal them of their root causes that caused them to behave the way they did and react to you the way they did in the first place, then guess what happens? When you ask for someone else to be blessed and healed, in this world, everything you ask for someone else happens for you as well. So when you ask that for these 3 people, so you're asking for it basically 3 times, you will be healed of all of your root causes, of all of your fears. That's how it works. You've heard of what comes around goes around. You've heard of karma. You've heard of the golden rule. That's the cause and effect. They're all different names for the same thing. And what it is whatever energy you put out is going to come right back to you. Not necessarily from the same person, but you might put it out with one person and somehow it comes back to you in another way. So that's why you always want to put out positive energy towards people, and then the positivity will come back to you. So with that in mind, whatever energy you put out comes back to you, you might as well ask that they be blessed and healed of all of their root causes. And then you, in turn, will be blessed and healed of all of your root causes. That's just how it works. So, okay, so then that's that part of the forgiveness practice. And then, and by the way, this is Harvard researched. Harvard researched the forgiveness practice, and they found that it raises your brainwave frequencies to the alpha state. So Harvard has researched it and it's proven. Okay, so then the next step that kind of goes along with that is I want you to, and this is something a lot of people forget to do, I want you to forgive yourself for anything that you may have done that in any way contributed to it. So if someone said something hurtful to you And you know, a natural defense is you say something mean back. But that's, you know, again, you're sending that out and then that comes back to you again. So instead, if you can forgive yourself and say, tell the divine, I forgive myself for what I said that contributed to the conflict, then you will be healed again for owning up to it. Basically, you're owning up to it. And as you own up to it, the divine loves when people own up to things. So if you can own up to it and then say you forgive yourself, you will be healed again even more, because that's very powerful stuff there. And then the last part of the forgiveness practice that I add, there is really, really powerful, is if you can tell the divine, I'm going to try to not judge others, and instead I'm going to try to love and accept all people just as they are. Now I know that sounds simple, but it's not. You think it's simple, but then it's part of our culture. People constantly judge each other unconsciously. You do it unconsciously without even realizing it. You may think you're the most open-minded, loving, and accepting person with all people, and then you see someone do some behavior and you think, you know, you judge them. And you can't do that, because if you're judging someone, you end up getting judged in some other way. It comes back to you. So just tell the divine you're trying to not judge people, and instead you're trying to love and accept other people as they are, because guess why? If you tell the divine that, and if you really make an effort, and if you catch yourself when you judge someone and then say, oh, I changed my mind, I don't want to judge them, I'm going to love and accept them as they are. You can always correct it after you catch yourself. But if you can do that and stop judging people, then guess what? You will not be judged. And if you say you love and accept other people and you really try, then what happens? The energy comes back around and people will love and accept you as you are. And it might not be the same person. I'm sure it'd be someone else. It's just when you love and accept one person, it could be someone else coming back and loving and accepting you. And you end up with a lot of friends, and it makes your life very happy. So I'm only putting that in there because it really improves the quality of your life. And that's important. So, and that's part of the forgiveness thing too. Okay, so then the next thing is, by now, you should be in the alpha brainwave state. So think about it. How do you feel? Do you feel in control, right? You're aware of what's going on. You've been making all these decisions. You decided who you love, who to forgive. You've made all these decisions, so you're in control. So it feels normal, right? It doesn't feel any different than any other time. But because you have done all these steps have raised your brainwave frequencies to the alpha brainwave state. And so as you can see, the alpha brainwave state feels perfectly normal. But the difference is that when we do the next step, right now you're in the pre-suggestive state. So you could actually suggest things to you now and it'll start working. But with the next step, you will be in the actually suggestive state. And you'll be just feeling just the same as you are right now, totally engaged. So let's do the next step, and this next technique will bridge you right over into the suggestive state. So let's do that. And then we can actually reprogram your mind to the way you want. You will reprogram your mind to the way you want to, taking out all fears, doubts, and anxieties, and instead adding that you feel safe and protected and healthy and well and calm and content, and whatever else you want to add. Boost your immune system, whatever else you want to add. So let's do that. Let's do this next technique. So the next technique is if you still have your pencil and paper handy, this is even more effective when you write all these things down, because it makes the brain waves, how can I say, work even more effectively when you write things down as compared to saying them. You can say them and it works. If you think them, it can work. If you say them, it works. And if you write them down, it's even more effective and more powerful because of the brain waves used in writing. So if you can write these next 3 things down, this will really be powerful. So the next 3 things I'm going to ask you to do is, will you please write down 3 things you are grateful for? So it can be anything, large or small, doesn't matter. Just write down 3 things or more, the more the better, that you are grateful for. So you can say you're grateful that your daughter called you and talked to you on the phone today, or you could say you're grateful that your husband brought some groceries home, or you can say you're grateful that your parents are in excellent health. I mean, it could be anything. One I use a lot is I'm grateful for when it's a warm, bright, sunny day, because, I like nice weather. But it can be, it could be people related, or it could just be the weather or whatever. That's up to you. Whatever is going on in your life that you're grateful for. So just write down 3 things you're grateful for, and that's probably easy to do. And if you can't think of any, then ask yourself, because whenever you ask yourself these, the answers come to your mind. So just say, okay, what am I grateful for today? And then just wait, and ideas come to your head. Okay, so anyway, by now I think you've written down those 3 things now. So guess what happened? Your brain waves were raised 3 more times, that much closer. And so now you are in the suggestive state. So it seems normal, right? You feel totally in control. You're totally engaged. You're writing down your notes. So it feels perfectly normal. But you are in the suggestive state now. So this is where we want to do the reprogramming for you. This is where the important stuff happens. So this is where I want you to ask the divine to locate, transmute. Now transmute means like where the divine uses positive energy or white light to transmute, which means filling the root cause with positive energy or white, the divine white light, whatever you want to call it. So that it transmutes it, it changes it from negative energy into positive energy, basically. That sums it up right there. So, and when you transmute it into positive energy, it heals. So ask the divine to locate, transmute the root causes, and clear all the root causes, and heal you of all of the root causes. And then you're going to add, because any and all of these root causes could be any and all inherited root causes, because they can be inherited, any karmic root causes, which just means something throughout your lifetime that you might have done to someone else first, and then it was done back to you in this event, or if you caused fear to someone else, say when you were younger, like say a sibling, say you caused fear to a sibling, and then it comes back to you later. But that's just an example. But anyway, the point is, it could be inherited, it could be karmic, it could even happen prenatally when your mother was carrying you. If your mother had a fearful event in her life, sometimes, I mean it doesn't always happen, but it can happen where the baby gets that energy from the mother. Basically, the energy from the mother goes into the baby, and then the baby ends up with that energy as well. So it can be prenatal, and of course it can be at any time during your current life. So just ask that any and all root causes, whatever they may be, that they all be located, transmuted, cleared, and healed in, and this is important, the safest, healthiest, most comfortable, most happiest, and most wonderful possible ways. Now, and always end it with the word now. Throughout all time, space, and dimensions. Now. So always end it with the word now. And then I'll explain that a little bit. So, first of all, if you don't add that phrase throughout in the safest, healthiest, most comfortable, and all those most happiest, most wonderful possible ways, sometimes your brain takes a shortcut and it's not always the most pleasant ways to accomplish it. But as long as you include that, you will feel wonderful tomorrow. It just programs your mind, which programs your body, and you will feel happy, you will feel safe, it'll be done in the healthiest possible way, and you'll just feel wonderful tomorrow. So I always include the most, well, all of those, but especially the most wonderful, because you want to feel wonderful tomorrow. So include all of those, and then of course throughout all time, space, and dimensions. That you probably understand that. Self-explanatory there. So you ask the divine to do all of those things for you now, and always end it in the word now, because you need to give it a time frame. And if you don't put now, then the divine's like, well, when should I do this? I'm waiting for when I should do this. Tell me when. Or if you say now, and always end your requests in now, or your prayer requests or intentions with the word now, then the divine knows to act on it right now. So that's important too. Okay, so then you have asked, you're in, like I say, you're in the programmable stage, you're connected with the divine, really clear connection now. And, there goes my earring. And so anyway, this is where you ask for this. And then, after that is done, then you ask to please, the divine to please take out, or to please make all fears, doubts, anxieties, and discomforts disappear from all the parts of you now. That would be disappearing from all of your mind, body, emotions, totally, completely, and entirely now. You've heard of the mind, body, spirit connection. So that's why you want to ask the divine to make it disappear from all of your mind, body, and spirit now. So then we've taken all the fear out. It's gone. It's history. And then we want to add all the good things. So now this is where you ask the divine to add or install. That's the word I like to use, but you can use add or install. So ask the divine to add or install that to help you to be and feel calm, content, happy, in a good mood, feeling safe and secure, feeling protected, being and feeling protected in every way. Maybe you want to ask to boost your immune system, and anything else. Confident, if you want to feel confident. And so this is the time to add all those positive traits that you would like to add or to yourself. Now's the time to add them, and they will be programmed in at this time. So ask to add all those good things in now. And then once you've asked the divine to install or add all these things into you, ask the divine to lock all of these positive traits in permanently now. Use the word now. And then ask the divine to also keep all fear, doubts, and anxieties and discomforts locked out of you permanently now. You want to keep all that stuff permanently locked out. And then keep all the good stuff locked in. And then after that, I want you to visualize. Now you might say, why should I visualize? Well, there's a good reason. When you visualize, it's like showing the divine a movie in your mind of the goals that you want to be completed. So you're not going to visualize how you get there. I want you to visualize the completed goal. So how you will be and feel once the goal is completed. And that's what you're going to visualize in your mind. So you'll close your eyes, and this actually shows the divine a blueprint of your goals. And so this is really important to do. So close your eyes, and I'll tell you what mine is. You can come up with your own because you're fully aware and engaged now. So you can come up with your own, but I'll give you an example of what mine is. So mine is, I close my eyes and I imagine making like a little video in my mind. My completed goal would be, first of all, you engage all of your senses in this video in your mind. So mine would be, it's your best case scenario, so your dream situation. So for me, my dream situation, best case scenario would be, I'm sitting on the beach, I'm drinking an ice cold lemonade with one of the pretty little umbrellas in it, and I have a big umbrella over me giving me lots of shade, and I just went in the water and I came back out, so I'm wet. And you know how good it feels when you're laying in the sun and you're wet and it's kind of drying, the sun is drying it off. It feels like this warm golden feeling. So I feel this warm golden feeling. I taste this delicious ice cold lemonade. So touch, feel, taste, and then I hear children playing on the beach, building sandcastles. I hear seagulls maybe to the side squawking. You know how seagulls like to gather on the beach. I hear the ocean waves splashing against the shore. So that's what I hear. So we got hearing, taste. What I see the ocean waves going in and out, very nice and relaxing. And so anyway, just engage all of your, smell, that's right. And smell, I smell, this is my thing. I like to smell coconut sunblock. To me, it smells good. And so I imagine myself smelling that coconut scent as I'm laying there on the beach, enjoying my lemonade and listening to the waves gently roll in and roll out. And so then once you've got this best case scenario picture in your mind, then this is when you affirm what you want. And so I know we already installed it, but this is where we're going to affirm it in the video because you're kind of showing the divine a blueprint. So this is where you say, I feel like all fears, doubts, anxieties, and discomforts are gone totally, completely, and entirely. I know they're gone, totally, completely, entirely gone now. But instead, I am so happy. I am having the best life ever. I am just enjoying every facet of my life, and I am calm and content. I feel safe and secure. I'm perfectly protected. Even all the people all around me are perfectly protected. So it's safe for me to be around all these people, and it's safe for them to be around me. And we're all healthy and well. So we're all safe and protected and healthy and well. And I'm in the best possible health. And I am just so happy and enjoying the best life ever now. Always end it with now. So you affirm all that in your mind now. And this is with your eyes closed in that beautiful, whatever your dream case scenario is. And so then that's your visualization. And then you want to add a thank you. So then you would say, thank you to the divine. Thank you for manifesting all of these things for me now, or sometime in the very near future now, or now and from now on now. So thank the divine, because just by you, all this work you've done, the divine is already working on things. So even though you don't realize it, things are already being healed in you. So thank the divine for healing you and manifesting all these things within you now. And then, let's see, so then we've done the thank you, and then, and so then the next thing is I want you to surrender it to the divine. So after then you can open your eyes. And so then I want you to just say, to the divine, I am taking all of these things and I'm turning them all over to you now. You see everything. You know all. You can see all. You know the best possible way to handle this whole entire situation for me now. You know what is best for me. So I am turning this whole entire process over to you, and I just ask that you do whatever you think and feel is best for my own higher good for me now and from now on now. Always end it with now. And so then you've surrendered it to the divine, and then the divine will decide if, when, and how, and the best possible way to do it for you now. And so then after that, then the next step is ask the divine to balance, align, and attune all the parts of you, mind, body, spirit, all the parts of you with the divine through all positive ways and all positive means now and from now on and from this moment forward now. Now that's important to end it with that, because that just brings everything into perfect integration. It integrates everything perfectly within it, all the parts of you, by saying you are balancing, by asking the divine to balance, align, and attune all of the parts of you with the divine now and from now on now and from this moment forward now. So then you have perfect integration. So then, and so then that pretty much takes care of it. And then I want to ask you, you might want to make a note on this, I want to ask you to please do this 1.5 hours before your bedtime. So I know you're saying, why 1.5 hours before bedtime? But there's a reason. There's science behind all of this. Okay, so if you, first of all, this whole process takes about 1 hour. And so you can do that the 1 hour, and then after that, I would ask you to take a shower. So right before your bedtime. And when you take a shower, take, maybe warm to hot water, whatever's comfortable, it feels good to you. And let that water shower down on the back of your neck and down your spinal column. At least 5 minutes, just let the water shower down your neck and spinal column. Now the reason is your neck and spinal column are connected to your brain. Again, brainwaves healing. And so when the water showers down on there, it makes it even more effective. It magnifies the results, basically. It magnifies the results. So we want the most results we can get out of it. So that's why we want to do that. Very important. Very powerful with the shower on the spinal column, neck and spinal column. Okay, so then after that, then, and so then after that, then you are ready to go to bed. And so after you come out of the shower and you get ready to go to bed, then that's when you might want to, like when you lay down in bed, that's when as soon as you close your eyes, you start going in that alpha brainwave state. So as soon as you lay down in bed and close your eyes, then ask the divine again to help you to go to sleep quickly and instantly, and to sleep really good and really deep all the way straight through until after your alarm clock wakes you up the next day, something like that. Whatever time, you got to give it a time frame. So give it some kind of time frame. That's the one I use, but you can use whatever your time frame you want. So make sure you ask for that when you lay down in bed. And then the reason why we do all this before bedtime is because there is something called twilight hypnosis. And twilight hypnosis happens before bedtime. So like I mentioned, when you close your eyes, you start going into the alpha brainwave state. So these things being right before bedtime, they're all like in your mind, ready. It's almost like they're cued in your mind, ready to be worked on. So then once you close your eyes and you go to bed and you go to sleep and you sleep really good and really deep, then your mind, your brain, your mind, the divine, everything's being worked on really well. And it's a science. And so, you probably have heard people say, I'm going to pray on it tonight and decide what I want to do tomorrow. Well, there is actually something to that, because what you think about before you go to bed, that's what your mind and your brain will work on in your dreams and everything. It's like it works it out. You don't know how it works it out, but it works it out. And when you ask the divine, that just adds that much more power and effectiveness. And then by the next day, those people that have had a question about, oh, what should I do? When they say that before bedtime, they get the answer the next day. It comes to them. It just comes to them. Well, that's because it's been worked on throughout the night. So it's twilight hypnosis. So that's why, very important, that's why I want you to do it an hour and a half before bedtime. So you can take advantage of that, because that's when the manifesting actually happens. Because you might, when you close your eyes, you might go into alpha brainwave state. But once you start sleeping really good and really deep, you go into theta brainwave state. And theta brainwaves, that's where miracles are manifested. That's where it happens. So it's real important that you do this an hour and a half before your bedtime, because I want to take advantage of that brainwave healing, the theta when you're sleeping. That's where it really does all these things for you. And then the next day you feel wonderful, because we programmed it that way. So anyway, so that takes care of that. And then the final thing that I just want to go back to, after you've asked to balance, align, and attune with the divine, then I want you to, I know this sounds funny, but there's science behind it. So then I want you to clap your hands 3 times to activate the whole process. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 times you clap your hands, and then it's actually sending through it's sending the energy impulses up to your brain, throughout your body, and it's basically activating nerve impulses. It's activating it now through your brain and your heart and everything. So and your body. So it's activated once you do that, because as you know, energy runs through your body, like I explained earlier. So it activates it with the hands clapping. And so then I just want to explain that, I just want to explain that I have to say my disclaimer now. So always seek medical attention first. Always see a doctor first. Always follow a doctor's protocol. And take whatever medicines or prescriptions a doctor asks you to take. So follow his protocol and whatever he advises you to do. And then keep in mind, this is to enhance your healing processes. So I can't guarantee that this will work, but I will just say, so there are no guarantees, but I have had many, many cases where people have been healed of things you would call miracles, Miracles have been manifested. I had a woman who had double vision, and she started doing this once a week. I ask that you do it once a week, because it takes about 7 days for full processing. You don't feel it, but your body and your mind, everything's processing it for about a week. So don't do it more than once a week is enough. And so she would do it once a week, and it only took it didn't take very long, only a couple of times. And then her vision was restored back to single vision. I've had people with back injuries that have been healed, knee injuries have been healed, broken arm was repositioned, was originally told had to have surgery, and then the broken arm was repositioned into the proper and correct placement and avoided surgery. I've had I told you about the one eye, but I also had someone else who had, she had like a kind of like a shadow or kind of like a shadow on her eyes, and her eyes, it was light. The next day she could see, it was a lighter, she could see lighter. I don't know if that makes sense. Her vision was clearer, basically, and more light could come in. She could see clearer. I've had blood sugar that was brought to the proper and correct levels. One lady's, she had already been going to the doctor. She had pancreatic cancer. She'd already been going to the doctor and following the protocol and everything. And they had only given her 3 months to live. And anyway, she'd been following their protocol, but then later she started doing this, and later on in her process, and she's still alive today, 2.5 years later. And she said also that her cancer tumors shrunk to what they called shadows. They told her they only appeared as shadows. They had shrunk down to just tiny little shadows. So that's bought her, so she's extended her life right there, almost 2.5 years, because they only gave her 3 months, and it's 2.5 years now, and she's still feeling good. So, but of course, she follows her doctor's protocol too. So this, like I said, this is enhancing it. And I myself overcame 32 food sensitivities. So yeah, I went through maybe about 8 years ago where they told me, I had the blood test and all that, and they told me to stop eating 32 foods, which is pretty much everything I was eating. I had like hardly anything I could eat after that. But then so I followed their protocol, and then I went to add food back in, and I couldn't add anything back in. And they said, oh, you'll be able to add things back in, but I wasn't able to. But anyway, so then I started doing this and some other alternative medicine techniques as well. But I felt that this really helped me a lot. And I was able to one by one add all 32 foods back into my diet. Now they did tell me don't ever add gluten, but I have eaten gluten, and I've had no problems with it, but I don't go looking for it. I still avoid it as much as I can. So basically, I can eat all 32 foods safely and easily, and my body handles it properly and correctly. And so, yeah, I can eat pretty much whatever I want now. I just like to eat healthy now, that's all. But, anyway, so many other things, countless things. There's so many cases of people that have been healed of so many things. But again, they follow the doctor's protocol, and then this is added to it, and this really can heal you, can manifest miracles in you, and so give it a try, because what do you have to lose except for fear? So why not try it? And then you might feel calm. You will probably feel calm and content. The reason I picked fear for this session is because with the current events, that is the most common thing that people are feeling right now. So I figured this would be something that could apply and help almost everybody. So hopefully the general public will benefit from this now. And so anyway, I just wanted to make sure I included my disclaimer. And then I wanted to ask you also to please subscribe below if you like this video. If you find, say you do it and then tomorrow you see the difference and you want to know more, then please subscribe below, because I am going to be coming out with another video in which I'm going to walk you through this step by step, but I'm going to add something very special in the beginning of it, and it'll be really good. So be looking for that. That'll be coming out shortly. And then also, I want to tell you that I have a blog, and so if you ever want to look into the science behind all of this, because there is a lot of science that goes along with this, including the gratitude practice is also Harvard research. So Harvard researched gratitude as well, and the healing benefits of gratitude and the healing benefits of forgiveness are both Harvard researched techniques. And so anyway, if you want to look more at my blog and read more about the science behind things, my blog is Healing with Dr. Rita Joan. And so you can just Google, Healing with Dr. Rita Joan, and it will take you right to my blog. And that's Rita, R-I-T-A, and Joan, J-O-A-N. Oh, and doctor is just D-R. So, Healing with Dr. D-R, Rita, R-I-T-A, Joan, J-O-A-N. And so if you just Google that, it'll take you right to my blog, and you can read all about, more in depth about how the science behind it, but also how it can heal other things. So this is something that can work on pretty much anything. And physical things. This can work on physical things, because when you hold on to bitterness or blame, or if you blame someone, or you're angry, or mad at someone, that can affect, not right away, but over many years, as you get older, it can affect your health. But if you can learn to clear that out, which is what this technique does, if you clear those root causes out, then you become healthy and well. Your body heals. It's very healing and very therapeutic for you. So anyway, that takes care of the whole process. Now you know my blog and to subscribe. And so I want to thank you for taking the time and taking the notes and taking the time to listen to this. And I want to thank you for trying it out an hour and a half before bedtime. And you might want to drink a little water, like a half a cup of water before you begin, because this is energy medicine. And just like prayer is also energy medicine. And so anytime you do energy medicine, water, not a lot, but like a half a cup or so, it actually makes the process work better. It actually helps. So go ahead and drink some water, and it'll be even more effective. Oh, I should also explain with the disclaimer, the reason why I cannot guarantee anything is because there are so many variables. So if you think about it, there are so many variables. Okay, so if someone didn't follow this exactly the way I had described, that makes a difference. If one person is more open to it and another person does not believe in it at all, of course the person more open to it will probably have even better results. But at the same time, I've had people who didn't even believe in it, and it worked for them too. So it works for anybody. So it's, also another variable is that in the end, you do surrender it to the divine. And so when you surrender it to the divine is going to decide if, when, and how to do all of these things in the best possible way for you and for your own higher good. And so I have no control over that. That is up to the divine. So again, I cannot guarantee what the divine will or won't do for you. All I can tell you is I've had many cases where many miracles have been manifested as a result of this process. So anyway, I want to thank you for your time, and please keep on the lookout for that next video. It's going to be a good one, and I will see you then, and have a great night. Thank you.